A massive Russian force of roughly 100,000 troops is determined to seize Pokrovsk. But the town is heavily defended by Ukrainian drones, artillery, infantry, and even a few Leopard 2A4 tanks belonging to the ill-fated 155th Mechanized Brigade. According to Euromaidan Press, the Russian strategy is not a direct assault but an attempt to encircle and cut off Pokrovsk. This would require taking Rodynske, then pushing west across the main north-south TO515 highway, passing Dobropillya and Rodynske before closing in on Pokrovsk. The only other main route into the city, just west of town, is also in danger of being overrun. The Russian center group of forces, including the 51st Combined Arms Army, has spent a year advancing from the ruins of Avdiivka, 40 kilometers to the east. The costly march stalled on Pokrovsk's outskirts around the new year, but the Kremlin has since mobilized hundreds of thousands of new troops, sending many into the Pokrovsk sector. Charging forward on motorcycles or advancing on foot, Russian forces took heavy losses during probing attacks on the city's defenses. Last month, however, the 9th Motor Rifle Brigade, or a nearby unit, managed to exploit a significant gap in the Ukrainian lines near Rodynske, Euromaidan Press reports. Rodynske has now become the focal point of the fighting. As Russian cab glide bombs pound the village, the 51st CAA is poised for a possible push. The command of the enemy's center operational grouping on the Pokrovsk direction completes preparatory actions, actively accelerating preparations for the assault on Pokrovsk, the Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies stated. Any advance through Rodynske and into Pokrovsk will be costly for both sides, especially for the Russians. We anticipate a spike in Russian losses, Frontelligence Insight assessed, but also the possibility of a faster tempo of advances. To slow the assault and inflict maximum casualties, Ukraine has reinforced the Rodynske area with elements of the 142nd Mechanized Brigade, now equipped with German-made Leopard 1A5 tanks. Despite these reinforcements, Ukrainian forces in and around Pokrovsk remain outnumbered by tens of thousands. Russia has kept up its recruitment drive with lavish enlistment bonuses, while Ukraine continues to face difficulties in recruiting and drafting fresh troops for its exhausted brigades. Partisans have successfully sabotaged a critical railway junction near Rostov-on-Don, halting the delivery of equipment and ammunition to Russian forces operating in the southern direction. The ATESH movement reported the operation. According to ATESH, their groups continue systematically targeting key nodes in Russian logistics, disrupting command plans and slowing offensive operations. This time, the strike hit a junction near the village of Kalinino. This section is a vital link on the enemy's logistical map. It channels the main flow of rail traffic heading southwest toward the temporarily occupied territories. Every day, trains carrying equipment, ammunition, fuel, and personnel passed through this hub, the movement stated. During the operation, one of the main relay cabinets controlling the node was disabled, completely halting traffic along the route and forcing the Russians to seek alternative paths. ATESH emphasized that each such operation delays the enemy's advance and undermines its war plans. Every targeted strike on these critical links brings Ukraine closer to victory. This action follows a series of recent attacks, including one on the arched station that damaged a traction substation and contact network. Across southern Russia, from Adler to northern rail stations, the network is under pressure. The Kalinino strike marks the 11th such operation, with most previous attacks aimed at traction substations in Kotelnikovo, Novocherkassk, Pishchanikopskoy, Timashevsk, and others. The southern corridor of Russian railways, connecting to the main Black Sea ports and bypassing the Krasnodar hub, is a strategic bottleneck, with only two key alternatives, Timashevsk and Tikhoretsk. Both have been targeted. Last year, this route moved 275 million tons of cargo, more than any other region in Russia. While grain and oil dominate the flow, it also carries fuel, spare parts, fertilizers, seed stock, explosive precursors, and imports from the South Caucasus. Crucially, it supplies both military and civilian needs in the occupied Luhansk and Donetsk regions. Any disruption to this network delays raw materials to factories, ammunition and fuel to the front, and leaves sorting stations clogged with crude oil and grain. With Moscow heavily dependent on the railways, partisans say their objective is clear: keep striking until the pressure becomes unbearable. The summer offensive of Russian forces in Ukraine has concluded with only limited tactical gains, while the Ukrainian armed forces counteroffensive has yet to begin. This assessment comes from former FSB officer Igor Strelkov-Gherkin, currently serving a prison sentence in Russia, who shared his views on his Telegram channel. Gherkin believes Ukrainian troops are obliged to strike now, at a moment when the Russian advance has run out of steam, their defensive readiness is uneven, and their reserves have melted away, or are entirely depleted. I'm still willing to bet 3-1 that Ukraine's counteroffensive will begin soon, and it's unlikely they will wait until September, he wrote. I still see the southern, Crimean, Zaporizhia axis as the most probable and dangerous direction for their strike. But, of course, they could choose another sector if they think it will yield at least a small victory. He added that the ongoing war of attrition poses a stark choice for the Kremlin: either abandon the peacetime economy and commit fully to a war effort until complete victory, or risk the conflict being won alternatively, and likely not by Russia. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to inflict damage in Crimea ahead of the anticipated counterattack. Soldiers from the HUR's Ghost unit recently struck one of Russia's most valuable radar stations, the 98L6 Yenisei, in occupied Crimea. According to her, this rare and costly system is part of the S-500 Prometheus air defense complex and can also be used with S-400 Triumph systems. The destruction of the Yenisei is a significant blow to the air defense capabilities of the Russian occupiers in Crimea. The fight continues, the agency stated. Separately, Ukraine's security service reported on Monday that it destroyed one Russian Su-30 fighter jet and damaged 4 other military aircraft during an overnight drone strike on Crimea. The attack targeted a military aviation depot, completely destroying the Su-30, damaging another, and also damaging 3 Su-24 bomber aircraft.